welcome to my presentation on the association between omega-3 fatty acid intake and cognitive function in older adults. My name is Troy, and I am currently a registered dietitian. I have been working with the elderly population for about 3 years now as a dietitian, and my research interests really focus on cognitive health and diet within the elderly population, particularly those who are 65 years in age and older. Currently, there's almost 7 million Americans who are age 65 years or older that live with Alzheimer's disease. 75% of everyone who lives with Alzheimer's disease are 75 years and older. It's actually projected that by the year 2060, the total care costs associated with Alzheimer's disease will reach an astonishing $1.4 trillion. There's a significant economic and caregiver burden associated with Alzheimer's disease, and so there's a critical need for research on cognitive decline prevention. A little bit about current dietary patterns and their association with cognitive health. Currently, the Mediterranean diet and Nordic diets are the main diets out there that are associated with better cognitive health in older adults. These diets focus mostly on high fruit and vegetable intake. The Mediterranean diet in particular emphasizes fatty fish intake, which is where you're going to get your omega-3 fatty acids from, fruits, vegetables, as well as whole grains. And it's been linked to improved cognition scores on various cognitive tests. Our current understanding of omega-3 fatty acids and cognitive benefits focus mainly on DHA and EPA, which are two different types of omega-3 polyunsaturated fatty acids. They've shown potential benefits in slowing cognitive decline in those who suffer from mild cognitive impairment. And they have also been shown to improve scores on various cognitive tests, such as the ACE-R test, which measures multiple cognitive domains, the Stroop test, which assesses cognitive interference, as well as the cognitive abilities screening instrument. My research objective was to investigate the relationship between omega-3 fatty acid consumption and cognitive function in older adults, specifically the relationship between DHA intake and EPA intake with cognitive function in adults who currently do not have a current diagnosis of mild cognitive impairment, Alzheimer's disease, or other type of dementia. So what I did was a secondary data analysis of the NHANES 2013-2014 data set. And my inclusion criteria were adults aged 65 years and older who had no pre-existing condition of any cognitive impairment, Alzheimer's disease, or dementia. And I excluded all participants under the age of 65, as well as all of those who were missing any sort of dietary intake data or cognitive test data. I also utilized the cognitive test scores from the animal fluency test, the CERAD test, and the digit symbol substitution test, all of which were measures of cognitive function within my population. A little look at my demographics of my population. There was a total of 1,099 participants after excluding those who did not meet the criteria. Most of the participants within my study were around the 80 years old. They were predominantly non-Hispanic whites, and there were more male participants than female participants. For my statistical analyses, I did a pairwise correlation test with a Bonferroni adjustment, and I set my statistical significance level at p less than 0.05. And my post hoc power analysis revealed a statistical power of 1, which means that my population size was sufficient to show any significant association. My study found that there was no statistically significant correlation between EPA intake, DHA intake, or combined EPA and DHA intake and cognitive test scores, and that most of the participants within my study actually scored relatively well on all of the cognitive tests. The main limitation of my study was that it focused on cognitively intact older adults that didn't have any pre-existing cognitive impairment. There is certainly a need for future research to focus on omega-3 fatty acid intake and cognitive performance, but specifically in those who actually have an existing diagnosis of some sort of mild cognitive impairment, Alzheimer's disease, or other type of dementia, and to study the long-term effects of omega-3 supplementation on cognitive health within that population. And there is a potential preventative strategy here for Alzheimer's disease and any other type of dementia or cognitive decline. Current evidence does not support any direct cognitive benefits of omega-3 fatty acids, at least within my limited study. And there's a potential for future studies to explore different dosages of omega-3 fatty acids, longer intervention periods, as well as diverse population samples to see if omega-3 fatty acids provide any statistically significant benefit to cognitive health.